Technology never works as quick when you need it. We're good? All right. Thank you, Julia. All right, council, let's come out of closed session. I'd like to have a roll call vote. The only thing that was discussed was prospective business and legal matters. Ralph?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Next month, right?
All right. We're going to go right into our public hearing. I'll read the official notice. The Warsaw Town Council Planning Commission will be holding a joint public hearing on Thursday, December 12th, 2024, 6 p.m. regarding the following application. Project name Rhodes Place, Broadest Creek Development. Applicant Warsaw LLC. Project type subdivision, conditional rezone, 321 total units. Application type plan of development and rezoning application phase 1. Location line between Wallace Street, Route 360 and Route 3. Tax map parcels banned. 16A 4A 48, 16A 4A 59, 16A 4 6 10, 16A 4A 77, 16A 4A 79, 16A 4A 80. Meeting details. Thursday, December 12th, 2024, 6 p.m., Warsaw Town Council Chambers, located at 78 Belleville Lane, Warsaw, Virginia, 22572. The Warsaw Planning Commission and the Town Council will hear public comments regarding at this meeting. Written comments to be read out loud by and may be submitted to the Town Manager's office by no later than Monday, December 9th, 2024, 4:30 p.m. Project application materials may be viewed in person at the Town office on Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., or may be sent electronically via email. Please send any questions and comments to or requests to Joseph Questenberry, Town Manager, at jquestenberry@town.warsaw.va.usa. Was the required notices published accordingly?
Yes, we did 3 weeks of advertising.
Very good.
I think we do have a presentation from the developer if you wanted to start off with that.
So the way this will work tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to see a presentation from Mr. Packett, the developer. He's going to show us some good things, I hope. And then there'll be a point where we open up for public comment. I have a list of people that want to speak. I assume it's all about the development. We will limit the comments to 3 minutes. You'll stand up to the podium. I'll recognize you. You'll come to the podium and state your name and where you live. And there will be a timer. So I'll give you the warning so we can keep the meeting rolling along. We will exit out of public comment. We'll come out of public comment area. The Planning Commission, they will talk and discuss the issue. Town Council will talk and discuss the issue. We'll close the public hearing. And if the Planning Commission wishes to take action tonight, they'll do so on whatever that may be. And if Town Council wants to take action tonight, they will do so in whatever that may be. Okay, very good. Mr. Packard, are you ready?
Yes.
Come on up, sir. Just for the record, gentlemen, if you state your names.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council and the Planning Commission, my name is Mike Fiore. I'm with the engineering firm of Arm Group, working for Mr. Packett and Warsaw LLC, and I'll be making a technical presentation tonight. And
then I'm Gregory Packett, the developer, and I'll be making comments after Mr. Fiore.
okay, are we ready?
We're ready.
First of all, I'm going to apologize for those of you that will have your back to me because I'll have to be running the computer at the projector. And Mr. Chairman, I will make my presentation. Mr. Packard will follow me, but if at any time you have questions, I certainly would be happy to answer. Hopefully our technology will.
While you're signing up, just another caveat to mention. The audience will not be permitted to ask questions to the developer. Council has that right to ask questions, so we'll adhere to those rules.
Mine isn't waking up fast either. It does work though. Wake up. The presentation tonight is based upon several years of work, a number of planning efforts, revisions, that sort of thing. Mr. Packard basically decided several months ago that he really wanted to pursue this in interest. We prepared a plan of development and had the opportunity to meet with the town and discuss some of the details. The project has been reviewed by the town and by their Berkeley group that has worked for them in reviewing applications. A lot of the things that we're presenting now reflect a lot of those comments and concerns. And we hope that our presentation will basically answer a lot of questions and give you a sense of what we're proposing to do. In the course of the last few years, we've certainly recognized the efforts that Warsaw has done to improve the quality of life and the presence of the town. I think it's obviously how much progress has been made in reviewing the comprehensive plan and the town ordinances. It appears that there's a bright future ahead of Warsaw, and we hope that this development will be part of that vision for you and help improve, continue to improve the economic potential for the town and the surrounds. The project is called Rhodes Place and Broadus Creek Developments. Basically, there are two separate developments in this presentation, but they're combined in terms of one total community of primarily residential growth. The purposes of that application, we need to go through to rezone all land holdings that the mayor was so happy to describe. There are certainly 6 parcels. And we are proposing to comply with the traditional town overlay and adhering to the development management ordinance and the density bonus provisions that we think will make this particular development just a step above what you normally would expect. Our intent is to present to you a residential community that will create a diverse mix of housing, not just one thing. I think the appeal is to attract a diverse group of people that would seek to live in an area like Warsaw. Young couples, individuals essential to employment and economic growth, young professionals and their families who want maybe a more relaxed place to live, growing families looking for more room or better housing, maybe more opportunity for upscale housing or improved technology in housing. Empty nesters looking for downsizing and maybe for a different lifestyle. Certainly retirees are looking for more relaxed living, and one of the elements are individuals that are looking maybe for a pedestrian-friendly community, something that they can share with their neighbors and family. So our proposal, when we looked at the comprehensive plan, I think the 6 goals in the comprehensive plan were pretty clear. The comprehensive plan wanted to look at development that extended the community character that was here. There were certainly elements of transportation and connectivity to the town. Certainly housing and creating neighborhoods that are compatible with what's existing in the town, and certainly provides a similar experience. Historic and natural resources are always important for everybody. Certainly, we enjoy the quality of life that's here, and we don't want to destroy it. Economic growth and development is so important to everybody. Everybody needs jobs. Everybody needs tax base, and rooftops are very important to that. And certainly, community facilities and the services that are provided, and the impact of growth, and the opportunity to bring people in that would help share some of that fiscal responsibility. The details of this project, basically, it's 63 acres in size, less about one acre of wetlands, steep slopes, areas that aren't going to be developed. They will certainly be integrated into the open space plan that you'll see. The project proposes single-family residence 70 lots and also 15 lots that are just slightly bigger, again, to provide a diverse opportunity for whoever is looking for an investment in this area. Villas, which basically are multi-unit buildings that would offer some maintenance, low maintenance opportunities for people that are looking for small units and not doing a lot of yard work, but they'd rather enjoy the community they live in. And also apartments and condos that are certainly important for people that are starting out or don't have interest to get involved in larger homes or are just moving into an area and need to get their feet on the ground. Now, I realize it's fairly hard to read, but what we're showing you is basically the layout. On the left top left corner is a condo apartment area that is currently zoned R12. It shows not only a layout, but you can see the road layouts that show where the apartment or condo areas will be, but it also shows a substantial amount of open space. There's a trail system located in it, and there's also an entrance out on Wallace Avenue. There is our street. There's also a road connection that is a private road, which we are labeling as an emergency access road. That basically is only used for emergency access as part of the trail system. But we didn't want to put a road in there that would perhaps tempt people to use that as a bypass around the lake at 3 and 360. The lower half of the project are single-family residents, which are primarily the bottom part of the development, and then there's the villas, which are the connected units. They are essentially in the center of the property. So to summarize the kinds of housing opportunities that we're offering, or would be offered in the plan, basically opportunities for essential individuals, young professionals, couples and families looking to establish roots in Warsaw or relocate their current roots within Warsaw and be a part of the future of Warsaw in terms of its quality of life and economic growth. Single-family opportunities there for there may be a resident that are looking to upgrade from a maybe dated housing that's existing in the town. Young and growing families not wanting to leave home because they can't find housing, they want to stay here. And new opportunities for people that drive through Warsaw, see a place, and they want to relocate to be in a better place. The villa community is basically those people that are looking to downsize, maybe not do so much maintenance, enjoy a little bit of travel in the surrounds and the environment of the Northern Neck. Professional couples that like smaller places, empty nesters and retirees. It's a diverse opportunity as far as a number of lifestyle changes that people want to make or would aspire to. Under the Development Management Ordinance, it provides opportunities for density bonuses. Basically, if the developer is willing to put the effort to show something more than just building a house. This particular presentation, this plan of development, basically focuses on preservation of natural resources. There's a creek that runs through it. There's wetlands and resource protection areas. There's certainly the basin of the woods, things that are important, and there are proposals to preserve that. The single-family area will have sidewalks. As the trend is now, those sidewalks generally are on one side of the street, but they will be with ADA access so that we would be in compliance with certainly the town and the federal government for people that have disabilities. We are proposing friendly pathways to connect the homes, the park areas, the community spaces, so that people would be able to freely walk through the community, and also a trail system that will connect to the town trail system and allow people to have walking access to Main Street and the other commercial areas that exist in town. Create that urban feel in a town environment. There will be plenty of green spaces, gardens, shaded seating areas for relaxation, social interaction throughout the entire community. So there will be connectivity between the condos and the apartment areas and the single family in the village. So there could be split families that are living in two different places, but they will have pedestrian connectivity so they can enjoy each other on a scale that this community offers. There will be a separate entrance to Rhodes Place. There will also be a boulevard entrance on Broad Street on Route 3 with landscaping. So there will be a sense of arrival. We talked about the emergency access, and that will be designed to handle heavy emergency access equipment so that if there's a blockage, there will be a way for emergency vehicles to get to the designated area they have to be. But it will, on a day-to-day basis, be part of the trail system. It would be blocked off so vehicles will not be able to use it. There won't be any shortcuts or excess traffic in the neighborhood because people that are not in the community are trying to get through community. There's a proposal and provisions for a bus stop for Bay Transitive. In fact, that's an opportunity. Of course, we're required to put in cluster mailboxes because there is no single delivery anymore to residences. We will use the town's light poles and street sign standards at all the major intersections in Broad Street. In addition, we are going to make provisions for all the houses to have lamp poles in front. Those lamps will be connected electrically to the individual home, but they won't be controlled by the homeowner. They'll be controlled by photovoltaic cells that will look at that will turn the lights on and off depending on the nighttime hours. So the entire road in subdivision will be lit at all times. Limited tree clearing provisions, of course, that goes with the natural areas, and there will be additional landscape trees in the subdivision as well. And then there will be community clubhouse and complex. Certainly a variety of activities, the sport gathering, classes, recreation activities, and just general community togetherness. The development management ordinance basically provides density bonuses for up to provide you 3 to 8 units per acre. The average of that is about 5.5 units per acre. And based on what we presented and prepared in this concept plan, this is providing about 5.2 acres, so slightly less than half of what would be allowed. With that, we have completed the my part of the presentation. Mr. Chairman, so you'd rather have Mr. Baggett speak, or if you have any questions?
Well, let's take a break and see if there's any questions from the Planning Commission or Council. Do we have any questions for Mike? Up to date.
Can you explain the density provision? That's what I had a question about. Obviously, we received these plans this week, and I was reading through them, and I just want to make sure it meets traditional town overlay. I think a big question that I'm sure the audience would have, and that I had as a council member and citizen here, was the density. I think that's what people were worried about. So I was just asking about the density provision and the statistics you provided.
Right, the density provisions basically, in the ordinance are very specific about a variety of things that the ordinance wants to see to maintain a quality of the development. The developer is willing to invest in making development basically of the highest quality in terms of the town's expectations. the town is willing to provide additional density. Now, what does that mean? It means basically that you can perhaps have smaller lots, for instance, so you can get more houses. That doesn't necessarily mean that's going to create an economic burden or an unsatisfactory type of housing product, because most houses in urban areas are now on smaller lots. But then to make sure that there's landscaping, that there's lighting, that there's amenities, that there's trails and that sort of thing. All those things go into making a place as opposed to just a place where somebody can build a house, a sense of community. In this particular area, because of the creek and the steep slopes and the requirement for stormwater management, there is an awful lot of land that is taken up just by those sorts of things. So in order to make the development more productive and economically viable, the opportunity is if the developer is willing to create these amenities and opportunities, then they can perhaps provide smaller lots to get more units. That is the basic requirement for financial stability and the success of the project. And when you do these sorts of things, then the comprehensive plan says, and the development plan says, that you can get more units. The top is 8 units per acre. That unfortunately would basically create perhaps the kind of development where people feel they're on top of each other and suddenly the amenities get in the way of the density that you need. So this particular program doesn't seek the maximum density based on the layout and what we can get in and still provide the open space and amenities. We came into about 5.2 units per acre. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that and then some. My only other question was, tonight are we, is this for just phase 1 of this project, or phase 1, what do we call it, phase 1? Phase 1 that we received here and what that looks like. And phase 1 looks like it's already zone R1 and R12. Is that correct?
It's a combination of zones, that's right. The upper portion on the left where the condos are is currently R12. The other areas are R1 and C1.
And it's zone R1, R12, so technically right now you could do what with that property?
Right. The traditional density wouldn't necessarily allow us a higher density, and so the provisions of the bonus rules provide the amenities that allow us to integrate it. I think the sense is, in order to create the vision that Gregory wanted to put into this particular parcel and make something really good, he felt that the town, traditional town, was the way to go.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, on the, I'll call it the emergency entrance and exit,
Yeah.
you said it would not be available to the residents of the community, but for emergency services, or if something happened, it'd be an alternative way to get out.
That,
How is that going to be regulated?
well, normally the way it's regulated in other areas is done, you either put bollards
Nice.
there across the way, and basically it's shown as a walking trail and a bike trail.
Okay.
Or in some cases, they'll put a gate or chain across it, but and it'll be part of the property owner association to maintain. It's not meant in any way to provide any vehicle access to anybody in the subdivision. Just be suitable.
I reckon my question was, in the event of emergency,
Right.
and say our fire department had to get in there, who would be in charge of making sure that section was available and open, so when they got there, they could come in?
Well, first of all, if there were any keys or any security issues,
They would have them?
they would have access to that. Right
Okay,
away.
all right,
There'd be no parking allowed, anything that interferes
Okay.
with those. It's like fire exits.
right.
At the same token, Stupid isn't stupid. Somebody might do something they shouldn't be doing.
Right.
They will face the consequences.
Like I say, my concern was just so that our emergency services and even our police department and the county sheriff's department would have access to that at all times.
Right.
Okay.
Any other questions?
How many total acres is this project?
63 acres
63.
is the total. And out of that one, a little bit more than 1 acre is wetlands and steep slopes that wouldn't be able to be developed anyway. So we're taking that out.
Any further questions? All right, Mr. Packett?
Good evening, Planning Commission, Town Council, Town staff. Merry Christmas. So I'm just going to give a bit of a background leading up to presenting this project. Back in 2009, the town and the county, Richmond County, partnered to do a revitalization plan. They hired Fraser Associates to do a study. And the reason for this is because change was needed. I mean, they knew things just weren't happening. So they hired this group, you guys and the county, to do this study. And out of that study, one of the things I took from it was, the meeting was in here one night and I was listening in. They considered the intersection, the main intersection in town, the heart, where ACE and all currently is. And they said until the heart started pumping, the arteries wouldn't flow. That you really needed to work on the heart first. Well, I just happened to own the piece of property where Family Dollar now sits. And so they drew beautiful plans of all these things, but everything drawn was on individuals' property. You know, it was not much the town or the county to do. It had to be individuals to step forward. So that being said, shortly thereafter, the development down at Toteski Creek, the landing, I had a grand opening down there for those lots, and I think I had one home up at the time. And it was successful, but I remember one of the potential buyers didn't want to sign a contract. He wanted the nicest lot and wanted to build the biggest house. They were out of Fredericksburg. He was an oncologist, and he goes into town. He said, "My wife wants to go into town first to see what's there." And they didn't even come back. They called, and they said, "It's a ghost town." You know, they said it's broom straw grass on the sidewalks and this and that. And I was like, man, that hurt my feelings because I never thought of my town as a ghost town. But that's what they stated. So I took it to heart, and shortly thereafter, we created the Main Street program, and just one thing leads to another, and I just did whatever little bit I could do. As far as the first thing I did was come to the town manager and see if maybe we could take care of the grass on the sidewalks. And at that time, I was told that didn't have the funding for it because had to hire somebody that had to have a license and stuff. And I said, okay. So all that being said, since that time, I think it's exploded. I mean, the town has done a marvelous job. I mean, the energy that has been created here is substantial. I mean, and it's known throughout the state, if not further. And so as the incentives have been here, especially right in the core of town for like facade grants and the enterprise zone, I mean, that was a big deal. But the first step, I believe, was the park. The park, there was a lot of controversy over the park. And there was a lot of controversy over the pavilion. A big controversy over how much money to spend on that pavilion. I remember sitting here listening about it. And I am indebted at this point to those decisions to have that a little bit nicer pavilion, because that started creating, hey, maybe let's just do a little better. And it takes time. Here we are 15 years later after that study, and it's working. I mean, I think you've been very successful at doing this. One of those properties is the old nursing home. I mean, the town wanted to try to get rid of a blight. And when that study was done to see what would be the best use for it, it looks really close to what it is now. It's not finished, but it will be finished. And which is amazing, you know, that these things are happening. And so back in 2017, well, around 15, because I'm a residential builder. I never was really into commercial. I just dabbled in it. A reason I did commercial here in Warsaw was to help provide a better place to live so that people would buy houses from me. That was my theory. And while I was fixing these homes up, I would always ask myself, how did a home get in this shape? You know, how in the world, I mean, a couple of them were condemned. Nobody could live in it. But I revamped them and brought them back to life, and they still look good today. But that's when I started thinking about something just like what I'm proposing. And this is the answer to that question. And I'll go further into that. So you mentioned, I think Mr. English mentioned about how it's currently zoned. The reason I looked at this piece of property, the bottom was still there, the old shopping center. Matter of fact, Family Dollar was, I think, in the process of moving out. I can't remember. And so I had approached that group, and I wasn't in negotiations or anything. It was just a thought, because I wanted to help get rid of a blight. And lo and behold, the town, you know, has done what they've done, which is another huge asset. And I had already purchased the land adjacent to it. And so the plan was to eventually do a subdivision. So, and then 17 is when I bought the first couple parcels on that end. And so then it grew from there, not intentionally, it just happened to work out that way. But as it's currently zoned, I bought it because of the zoning, because this, you know, the zoning's done by the comp plan. So everywhere you see R12, that's the reason I bought it. Currently, minus the wetlands and stuff, a by right use would allow 211 apartments. And of course, we're only asking for 168. Also on the R1, which is off of the Route 3 subdivision, the current zoned R1 would allow 103 units, 102 units. So that would be a total of 313 units, and I'm only proposing 8 more units because there's also a lot of commercial land that, of course, hasn't been developed in commercial, but where the commercial line is drawn, it's split zoning the parcels, and it would also be the entrance for the subdivision. And especially the one over on Route 360 in between the 7-Eleven and the other old service station. That's a small entranceway there. And so for a commercial, there's just a lot more commercial places in town that could be developed. So that's why the proposal is to rezone all of it to the R12 so it be unified, and to use the traditional town overlay so that we can design it in a way that's going to benefit everyone. So just like the subdivision down at the landing, when I opened up, I didn't have the amenities. I didn't have a gate and didn't have a pool. I was like, man, you know. But the people that were marketing it said, man, you really need this. I said, okay. So I did it, and I trusted them. And it was a huge asset to that community. The people, for over 15 years, I've heard, man, you really need to do a subdivision in Warsaw. I think her dad was one of them not long ago that said, when are you going to do a subdivision? There's a ton of people that live right in our community and in the Northern Neck, and I'm sure a lot further, that's just the ones that I know, that are looking for nice housing in town and want to get rid of their big properties. That one of them, I shouldn't say names, but it was a client of mine that bought in the landing. They already lived on Toteski Creek, way up in the creek, and they were getting older, and there was a lot to take care of, a lot of slope, a lot of leaves. And when they came to me, they actually came to me to rent Midtown Apartments. And then I told them about the landing, and they ended up buying. I actually called her this morning, and I said, if I would have had those patio homes there, she said, that would have been perfect, because they wanted to stay here. She said, and my neighbor, she said, that lived behind me, he had to move to Richmond. There was just no housing for him, because he was tired of taking care of his property as well. So hearing this year after year, that section, I think, is going to explode. And when we phase this thing, it's a guess. You know, it depends on how fast people want to buy. But I truly believe that the villa section is going to be hotcakes. But that's neither here nor there. So schools, you know, impact. We'll talk a little bit on impact of a few things. The schools, currently, the Richmond County school systems have out-of-town kids that attend, roughly 200. When I did a study on the current, on 125 apartments within Richmond County, and out of those apartments, there were 52 kids. And so if I take the numbers, let me find, I don't want to tell you the wrong numbers. So on average, that it was 52 children, that's 41%. So I didn't include the villas, but I did include all the apartments and all the single family housing. So out of 253 units, that's 104 children. So I think it would be comparable. It's what's existing. And so that would almost be half of the kids that already don't live here. So I don't think that would be a huge impact. The next thing would be traffic. I mean, as you know, y'all or everyone has labeled this the gateway. And so that being said, traffic is going to increase. There's no question. It's already increased without development here, and it's going to continue to increase. This is a U.S. highway. There's an intersection for 2 U.S. highways, you know, Route 3 and 360. And there is development going on in other counties east of us. And I totally believe that some of the people that are buying in those areas would have bought here. And so, yes, traffic is going to increase no matter what. I just think that we should, or the town, should benefit from that and getting some revenue from them living here instead of just passing through. Emergency services. I'd like to thank Richmond County Sheriff's Office for providing me the information about the dispatch calls to them. So I took a sample, and this was just from the Midtown Apartments, of the calls for the past 4 years. And so when figuring out in 1 year, the rescue squad, and this isn't figuring all of the units, 321 units, it would use 0.98% of their time. It's relatively low. On the police department, with the town and county, I did see that the county responded to, I believe, 74%, and the town responded to 26%. But that being said, that's 2.5% of the time for the police departments combined. So that's relatively normal from what I understand. The next thing was needed revenue. And I think this is a pretty big one. This is when I actually learned that I thought real estate tax would have been the biggest tax, but it's actually personal property. On the real estate tax, and I can give you all the numbers that I use, but I think I'm conservative on them, like 300 on a home and 3 to 350. I think that's on the low end. Also on the personal properties, I only use $50,000 per house. The price of cars today, if people have 2 cars, it could be well over that. That's to give an example. So with that, the real estate taxes for the county would be $436,800 a year. The town, $94,640. Personal property, county, $601,875. The town, $128,400. Vehicle license, which I didn't even know that was, but a little over $10,000 each on those. Meals tax, of course, that one's only for the town, but I figured $200 a month. So if you think that's too high, we can take off this number, but price of food today, that's going out twice a month to eat. But that would create $46,222 a year. Water and sewer fees, at the rate it is now, it's $76 a unit. That would be almost $300,000 a year for your water and sewer services. So that brings a total for the town, $572,288. And for the county, it would be over $1 million, $1,049,107. So in looking at the impact, of course, we could have a more professional impact study done. Off of these numbers, I would think that with the revenue and with the increase of the projected use of services, it should well cover itself and be able to, put money back into the community. Anyway, I'm very passionate about anything I do. This system, this plan, as you know, has been revised and tweaked and moved, and not to say that it still can't go further. I'm always open for suggestions to better something. But I think by having those pedestrian walks, when I originally, bought the property, I didn't think about the faces in the trees. I really, to be honest, I shouldn't say it, but I didn't care about the faces in the trees. But I got to know Mr. Rhodes, and my kids love it. Come find out all these people love it. I was like, I don't have the heart to get rid of it. That's one reason I can't get but that, many on it, because we're preserving all of that area. And it's hopes that it will still be preserved. We haven't quite figured out yet who's going to be maintaining the carvings, because they do need work every year. I wanted to talk to Mr. Rhodes further about that to see if he had any type of suggestions. But the community pool and clubhouse, it was a feature kind of like down at the Landing and other developments like this. It's an added measure for somebody to want to live there, where they don't have to leave home to have something to enjoy. And so that's how this plan came to be. So if you have any questions, feel free.
Council, I'll kick it off with a few questions, and we'll just round robin, whoever wants to ask. Thank you, Mr. Packett. Appreciate your time. You mentioned phase one. Could you walk us through what, in your vision, what the phases look like and what kind of timeline you're guessing?
Is that the phases up there, Mike? And so phase one is the tan one? I can't see.
Yeah, I think the ledge is on the right over there.
Well, of course, I would assume phase one is. Yes, phase one is the tan area, which would be at the entrance off Route 3.
So those are predominantly single-family homes.
These are single family, but I would be pretty sure that the villas would go at the same time.
Okay.
We did it in 3. Because we're guessing. Once if we got approval and marketing would start, and we'll see what is going to be needed and which way we would go with it. So this is a guess, to what it would be. But ultimately, it would be the entrance in those specific lots. And then we also have it on the other end. And I think one of the questions that Joseph was nice enough to send me, that was in the pre-meeting meeting with the county and emergency services as well, was, what was the timing of the pool and the clubhouse? And that's a That's a pretty big deal. I would like for it to be in the first phase of the residential building, homes. That being said, that depends on incentives. I gotta know what I'm working with before I can know when I can build it. But it would definitely be when I do the first phase of the apartment/condo units. And when I say apartment/condo, we're getting close. You know what the prices of homes are. I mean, it's getting up there. So condos are looking better and better. I mean, because it would be something a little more affordable. And the condos are really working now elsewhere. But usually in a town, it kind of phases. It goes homes to townhomes to condos, because it gets denser and denser. So market studies don't really support condos right here yet, but it is on the up and up. Does that answer?
Yeah, in the beginning, we're doing site work and all that, yeah, that's good, infrastructure, but would be focusing on the single-family homes, the villa homes.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's number one priority.
All right, and so, thank you. Another question, and I've heard this many, many times from folks, I'm sure you've heard it. No one's going to buy these homes. Where are these people coming
They
from?
said the same thing at the landing.
So
I got 105 employees and they're driving from Mechanicsville. They need homes. They
could
need
you speak a
apartments.
little bit to how you perceive market demand?
The demand is there. I mean, there are a lot of builders looking in the area. I can give one example, and these numbers might not be correct, but I was talking to a realtor, Kevin Kirkendall, a couple days ago, down in Lancaster, and then the billboard is right here in Warsaw at Grace Hill. They're advertising. And he said 8-9 months, 50, 60 homes gone, sold. So I can only go off of what's happening right now. They're steady looking in all of these areas, and it's for a reason, because there's a demand now. Especially since COVID, the landing after COVID sold out. High-speed internet is a really big deal. That was a big deal in King William. As soon as the high-speed internet hit there, it's exploded. So you already have all the infrastructure. I don't see it taking a long time.
Well, and follow-up question to that, what does your internal analysis tell you as far as the build-out time? Are you looking at 4 years, or do you think you're looking at 8 years? What are your numbers telling you?
I would think a 4 to 5 year build-out.
Okay.
That's on the high end.
Is that for all of the phases?
That's for all of the single family. It might not be for the apartments. So I had a study done by, can't think of who it was, but I had a study done for what the demand was. Now, this was back for Midtown. And the takedown rate per year that he had in there was like, I think 25, 30. It wasn't high. But we've gone right many years since the last one was built.
Mm-hmm.
So there is I have a waiting list a mile long. I have no question if they'll work, but I don't want to put up 106. This is totally for the future when it's needed, so that it's planned. So I'm not jumping around town and putting them over on Main Street, no home 360 over here, wherever I could, legally find a spot. I think this was, a really planned out community.
And Mr. Packett, will you be the builder, or are you partnering with another firm?
I'll be partnering with another firm.
Are you privy to say who they might be?
No, not at all, because I'm not sure exactly who it's going to be. I was in here last year, and that potential partner that was pretty far along just disappeared. So I'm not putting my eggs in any other basket right now on my own.
Planning Commission, Council, what questions?
What do you have a perspective? I know you're about, or your home's gonna be basically the same square footage, same size?
No.
Different price ranges from, what are your price ranges you think that you might be looking at? Do you have an idea of that?
I would hope, 300 would probably be the lowest when it comes to the homes. If the condos, take off, then they may be cheaper. But on these homes, you're going to be 300,000 up. I mean, it's just with the inflation that hit, and hopefully that'll come down a little bit. I surely hope so.
Yeah.
Because it is hard. It's really hard for people. I mean, right now, the rental business is skyrocketing because people just can't afford homes. And so it's not.
Do you know about what the average 3-bedroom house costs these days?
You just,
Over 300,000.
That's what
you
I'm-
put 2 on Pine Street here recently, right?
They were 299,000.
And how
1,200
quickly did
square
you sell
feet.
those? How quickly did you sell those?
Sold one of them in a week.
Yeah.
The other one was like a month or two. Yeah, that was not the product that's going to be in here.
Yeah.
And so these homes will all have garages. They all, of course, those had solid surface drives, but these will all have. This has the reason again. Asking for 8 more units than what's currently sits was for design. I mean, it was to be able to get the state-of-the-art subdivision, roll top curbs, and everybody has their lawns cut at the same time. Everybody has their house power washed in a week. You go in these subdivisions, all over the country, and they look just as good or better than when they were created new. And so that was the answer to my age-old question as I've been toiling around fixing up houses in town. It wouldn't get to that point. So the same slogan that I used back then, it's insurance for the future.
All right.
Gregory.
Yes.
What was that figure you give for the utility fees, your monthly fees for water and sewer?
Yeah,
on a total
if
bill
nobody
rate?
goes over their usage,
Right,
the base price of $76, it would be $292,752.
That's for the total build out?
Correct.
Okay. Just with my knowledge of our utilities, by the time it's totally built out, that 200 and some thousand might pay the additional operation costs of our utilities, which I understand. I mean, it's set on the fees, and we have been loyal to our customers, trying to keep the fees as low
And
as
you've done a remarkable job. I don't know how you've done it.
We've had government entities that said that
You're too
we
cheap.
were way too low.
Yeah.
That we were not doing anything good because we had low fees. We had to raise them up. But, that's something that we have to think about is our utilities. As you know, your expenses go up every day to operate. And our wastewater treatment plant and pumping water, it's steadily going up. And that was my only concern,
Right.
that would not be actually money we can hang on to. It'll come in and go out.
Yes, that wasn't the intent of the numbers. It was.
Understand.
And of course, I mean, I would suppose that they're going to continue to go up.
Yeah, well,
I mean, far as the rates, because they
Rates,
were
try
very,
not to,
very reasonable
you know.
compared to other localities.
And-
So I think the citizens of Warsaw, I mean, even though it was a significant increase to what it was, it still could be way, way higher compared to everybody else.
And, that's for water, sewer, and trash pickup. We've got over $1 million invested in trash trucks,
Yes, it's very expensive.
so it's very expensive. But I understand and I appreciate you bringing those figures to give us an idea of what the increased revenue would, probably be.
Any other questions?
There would also be increased expenses because we wouldn't be able to do it. Police department, garbage pickup, wastewater treatment, all that would have to add
More money.
more people in order to give the same services that we get right now. Because you're talking
Correct.
about increase of about 50% more than what we have right now in terms of houses and stuff in the town of Warsaw. Am I right about that?
Only
What's the
50%.
population?
We have
of Warsaw?
791 residential units, so this right now.
This is
correct.
three.
Almost 50% of what we have now. So that 200 whatever thousand may not cover the cost of being able to, plus electricity and everything, because the added increase in sewage that has to be treated and gotten rid of and everything else.
Well, I can't.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but I'm
That's,
just saying.
natural growth is going to cause that.
Yeah.
You were playing it out as an
Yeah.
increase for us, but it may not be.
And hopefully DEQ will leave us alone. Because they
Good
show
luck.
up anytime during the day and said, look, you gotta do this now. Well, that's a couple of $1 million. Sorry, you just gotta do it. We got $1 million well to put in. I mean, it's never ending for the town.
Council, Planning Commission, any other questions for Mr. Packett? All right. Thank you, Mr. Packett.
Thank you, Gregory.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open it up to public comment. I've got a list here. I'll go through the list of those who've registered to speak. I'll ask again to make sure that I've missed anybody. When I call your name, if you'd like to speak, please come up to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. As a reminder, you are speaking to council. You are not speaking or asking questions to Mr. Packett. And council will not be engaging in back and forth. We want to hear what you have to say. So that said, Mr. Patrick Stone, you are here. Step to the podium, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, town staff, planning commission members, my fellow neighbors here in Warsaw. My name is Patrick Stone, and I come to speak to you tonight as a town resident, a regional business owner, board of chamber member, and chairperson of your Warsaw Richmond County Main Street Foundation. I and these organizations are all strongly in favor of this development. We have a critical shortage of housing in the country and in the area. Many local businesses have lost out on talented employees that either could not relocate to the area or left the area due to affordable housing. This is the potential, once completed, to introduce potentially 600 new workers into the workforce in the area that is desperately short of qualified employees. Every local business would like to hire new people so that we could offer more services, that we could expand our hours, but we have no people to hire. We have no people to be able to, and no housing units to relocate them to. We lose talented employees all the time to additional metro areas when they want to find a property to build out on their own, and there are none available here. No one wants to live in Mechanicsville and commute to Warsaw. Small businesses are the engine that drives our local economy. Without growth, small businesses will starve on the vine. It is critical that we continue to grow our customer base. This development delivers growth that every small business in the community needs. 321 new households under this plan could potentially mean 70 grand in meals tax based on my numbers looking at the Chamber of Commerce's availability information. $2 million worth of additional online sales, which of course the region receives a percentage of that sales tax. Additional sales tax from 600 new cars. The average cars per household, by the way, in Warsaw, at least that I insure, is about 2.5 per household. And additional tax revenue from the 156 owner-occupied dwellings. For all those that want additional buildings and businesses to locate to the area, no business owner is going to bring a business to an area that is not growing. We cannot afford to do so. We will continue to lose out to businesses and in other areas that continue to grow, and the lack of affordable housing drives up the cost of living and drives away potential employees that we need at every business. I know there was a couple questions asked on who. I would be one of the people that would like to purchase a home in this development. I mean, I rent my home now. There's not a lot of real estate to buy. And then based on the calculations that we were able to provide from the information, I am a mortgage lender. I did the math. This would qualify as affordable housing for my staff, myself, and the average resident household here in the zip code. So it is something that we strongly believe in. And I thank everybody for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Hope Mothershead.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
My name is Hope Mothershead, and for those of you all that do not know, I am the county administrator here for Richmond County. And so I'm here tonight to speak in reference to the Rhodes Place and the Broadus Creek development. I have, of course, worked with Gregory Packett on many of his projects in Richmond County and have always been thoroughly satisfied with the quality of his work that he produces. I'm certain that this project will be the same, and I am in support of additional rooftops in the county to attract other opportunities for all of us. With this size development, many question county services and if they would be adequate. This is a concern of mine, as well as the department heads for the school, EMS, Sheriff's Office, and Volunteer Fire Department. I'd like to thank Joseph Quisenberry and Missy Coates for facilitating a meeting to discuss county department concerns prior to this public hearing. Some of those concerns that we spoke about are space issues, increased calls to EMS and Sheriff's Department, access to structures for fire events, and others that I believe Joseph has shared with the council and the Planning Commission. So I'd like to take this time to thank you for your time and consideration to this project and other projects within the town of Warsaw. I appreciate your dedication to making this area the best that it can be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jerry Sills.
Good evening.
Evening.
My name's Jerry Sills. I live in Richmond County. Me and my father, we have various rental properties in Warsaw as well as Richmond County. And I'm here tonight to address some of the concerns we have. First concern is the traffic based off of the 321 houses. Using the VDOT accepted average of 9 vehicle trips per day per unit, this project is anticipated to generate approximately 2,900 additional vehicle trips per day. Also, using the VDOT generally accepted peak hour trip generation rate of 11% of the total daily trips, we can anticipate approximately 325 of those trips occurring in the morning at peak hours. Even if these 325 peak hour trips were divided by the 3 possible exit routes, which are both legs of Court Circle and Wallace Street, this would mean that each of those intersections would receive an additional 108 vehicles per intersection at that peak hour period. This would equate to approximately 2 vehicles required to be stored every minute. And since Court Circle is a 5-legged intersection, it would be uncommon to have 4 or 5 minute cycle times on 4 of the 5-legged intersections. This would require vehicle storage lanes for the left and the right side turning vehicles to be approximately 200 feet long, thereby interfering with the parking at the Richmond County Government Facility, Big City Chuck Wagon, as well as the only interest of Family Dollar. Wallace Street is even worst case scenario, as the new road configuration typically stacks vehicles from Route 3 down to Wallace Street, thereby preventing vehicles in that peak hour from turning left onto Route 360 at all. The second concern is over water. Earlier this year, it was reported that the town of Warsaw did not have the funds to provide new drinking water well to meet the current Virginia regulations. If the town did not have the funds to accommodate the current citizens of the town, then how are they going to address the additional demand for 321 units? This would be about another 60 gallons per minute of water. Who's going to pay for it? You know, I don't know. I saw on the agenda that there was something coming up about the well. I wasn't aware of that. Our main concern is who's going to pay for all these upgrades. Is it going to be Gregory? Is it going to be the town? Is that going to affect the taxpayers' money? We're not against development at all. We're just concerned who's going to pay for it. You know, I would like to get the answers to some of these questions. I just feel that we don't have to rush to a decision tonight. We could take our time and make a decision down the road once some of these concerns are addressed.
Thank you, Jerry. Not yet. Ms. Belinda Reynolds.
My name's Belinda Reynolds, and I live at 6196 Richmond Road, Warsaw, Virginia. I'm here tonight to speak on Gregory Packett's rezoning proposal. Mr. Packett was sold the old Warsaw Healthcare Center at a reduced price and at the spur of the economic development in the town of Warsaw by resolution by the town. In this agreement at the time, a time frame was given to complete the project so that tax revenue benefits could be given to the property, could be enjoyed by the town and the citizens. However, not only did Mr. Packett drag his feet on this commencing of this construction of this project, he still has not completed the proposed Midtown development. He has also had his approval of a new apartment project immediately behind my house, and has screwed that up by dumping loads of dirt behind my house as close as possible, and it's contaminated, filled with trash, and not properly seeded. So why would the town even consider allowing him to rezone more property and try to complete another project when he doesn't complete the ones he's already started? I understand that Gregory is planning to dump all the traffic on the general development on Wallace Street and Court Circle, and it's to traffic that is unbearable at the situation, make it even worse on adding additional 300 more units at the same section of the restriped rezoning roadway under the quarter mile from my driveway that already takes me 5 to 10 minutes to get out of every morning. So I suggest that we ask Mr. Packett to do a legitimate impact study, not something he's come up with, but by a legitimate agency, do an impact study on our schools, our fire department, our LEO officers, our EMS, because all that's important to us, our traffic, because our town is small, it is growing, but we don't need to just throw 300 more homes in here and not know what it's going to cost our fire department. Right now, I already asked this question. If we have to have a fire department paid, we have to have 55 firemen to run 3 stations 24/7. That's a lot of money for our county and our town. And that includes we have to have more EMS, more LEO officers. I mean, it's going to cost. Is he going to pay for that? No. Are our tax dollars going to go up? Our water? We already have increased water and trash bills. We have to have another trash truck. Who's going to pay for all that? I mean, his project's not going to all happen at one time. It's over years. But we still have to have a lot of that stuff up front. I just feel like he needs to have an impact study just so we have a legitimate one now on, so we know what it looks like before we allow him to rezone when he doesn't finish anything you've already given him to finish.
15 seconds, Ms. Reynolds.
And that's fine. That's all I have to say. Just ask him to do something that's true.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I see who wanted to speak. Is there anyone who is in the audience that would like to speak who has not on that issue of the... Please step up, sir. State your name.
Hello, my name is David Craven. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but I got here last minute. I've moved to this area. Our family's been in the Nailers Beach area for 30 years, so we've been in this area a lot. I've seen the progress that Warsaw has done the last 15 years. I bought a large piece of land in Mother's Head Neck that I've developed and we enjoy. And then I looked at the town, spoke to Mr. Quisenberry a couple of times, I don't know, 8 years ago, and I'm a developer in Richmond, commercial. So I've met Mr. Packett twice, talked to him a few times on the phone, been impressed with what he had to say. But I also bought the old Virginia Employment Commission building. It used to be a post office if you've been here a long, long time. And so I own that property, which is right next to where his property is. That's why I wanted to come check out what was going on here. I think it's a viable project. I'm more on the commercial end in Richmond, but everything he's doing here is going to be multi-generational, almost like retirement centers where you have young mixed with the old, which is always good. And you can go from almost like an assisted living into, advanced care or whatever, but people can move back and forth within the same subdivision. But I think Warsaw that would benefit from this. As far as everybody's worrying about services, how that's going to work, I'm taking it that the town is running in the black. So if you're running in the black now, whatever increased services you need, you're going to have the increased taxes, the revenue that all this generates, and it's just the town's part to manage it properly. Hopefully, a lot better than City of Richmond, which I have lots of issues. I have a lot of properties there. So it's going to be growing pains, and you'll have to find ways, just like the road system, increase traffic, water, but the services will be increased proportionally. School, fire, police, and the new residents and tax bases are going to take care of that. So we've run the same issues in my developed properties in Richmond. But I've looked also into, since what he's done, I've been exploring a little bit and recently talked to Quisenberry about possibly developing some other commercial things here in town. So I've got a little bit of a dog in the fight. I'm kind of watching on the sidelines what's going on, but I think it's going to be a good thing. And if you all work together, I think it'll benefit the whole community. So that's my expert opinion. Excuse my tire, I was working on the farm, so don't judge a book by its cover.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, anyone else would like to speak? Step on up to the podium, sir. State your name.
Evening. Jay Clifford, Mullen, 8351 Historyland Highway, Warsaw, Virginia. My expert opinion, I'm a sawmiller, so that's what you'll have to take for the expert opinion. I am very interested in this project. I'm very interested in it, getting it off the ground and going somewhere. I've lived here all my life. The town of Warsaw has been part of my life, and I feel like that the town of Warsaw has got to continue growing. What I've seen happening in the last few years here, if it's nothing more than what the sidewalk work was done out through the west side of town did just to give the little added look to the town to get the bramble bushes off the sidewalks are what we need to do. And this is what I'm hoping, that something like this will have the opportunity for us. Unfortunately, what I'm hearing said here by this gentleman and by this lady here are that we need to make sure that our utility services are looked at deeply and covered. I feel like, as was said, that as we strengthen our population, our people, through our taxes, through the added people that come in, we'll have added business, which will do what? Add more. And hopefully each of these things will just keep increasing our foundation needs that we have to support this. How it will go, I don't know. I don't know what the weather's going to go tomorrow. But what we have to do is have what? Faith that we can get up tomorrow morning and go out to have a day of joy and happiness in the town of Warsaw and the county of Richmond. I encourage y'all to look for how we can make this work. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Step up. State your name, please.
Nancy Smith. I live at 700 Wallace Street. And I didn't come prepared to do anything but to tell you that currently living on Wallace Street is a little bit of a hassle trying to get on the main road with the changes that have taken place. And so I can only imagine what it might be like if all of those units were coming off of there with all the people trying to go to work and get home and that sort of thing. So please consider, when you're looking at this, what we might do to make the traffic and the transportation, because I even have to go up and around by the Family Dollar, and that light right there that you were speaking about, it's crazy because people from Montrose are coming and they're just shooting across and you're sitting there waiting. There's no turning light. So please consider how you can make our lives, I've been here for 30 years, please consider how you can make our lives okay and safe for all of us if you're going to do this subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I have written comment from one person.
All right. No one else in the hall would like to speak? All right, let's read the letter.
All right. It's from Betsy Norris, 142 Woodland Heights Road, Warsaw, Virginia. Dear members of the Town Council Planning Commission, this letter is in response to the proposed development by Warsaw LLC of Rhodes Place. I understand the need for housing, but am opposed to the development of Rhodes Place. The plan shows a right-of-way through the Enchanted Forest to Wallace Street. I'm concerned about the destruction of the woodland, the carvings, and possible runoff into the streams. Also, the fact that the many families walk the trails and children run through there. Our abundance of wildlife that will also be affected. The town has spent a lot of time and money on the bounds, and I do not want to see it and the trails destroyed. It is difficult now, even tricky, to exit enter Wallace Street by the bounds due to the restricted sight line down the incline from the traffic light. How many accidents will occur? How thin will you stretch our fire department members who are volunteers? At this time, our fire department depends on Essex County and other counties for a ladder truck. With this increase in apartment buildings, this will put an extra strain on the department and its members. Can the current water and sewer system handle all of this construction? How much more will you increase our water sewer bills, as many of us have to budget as it is? How soon would the town do another increase? The Planning Commission and the Town Council need to carefully reconsider this building project from Rhodes Place to the Broadest Creek property. Please do not allow the destruction of the trails. Do we really want the town of Warsaw to become an apartment community? It seems to be getting there fast. Respectfully, Betsy Norris.
All right. Added to the record. All right. I'm going to turn this time over to the Planning Commission, let you all discuss amongst yourselves. If you have any questions for Mr. Packett or Mike, please ask them. No? All right. Council, same thing. What questions do you have? What comments do you have? What's on your mind?
Mr. Mayor, at any other time, I'd probably say we need to have a discussion and maybe vote on this phase one. But at this time of the year, after the elections, we have new members coming on the Planning Commission. We have new members coming to the Town Council. And I'd like to see, if possible, that we can defer this to January to give the new members the information and a time to think about it and review it, other than sitting here tonight making a decision.
Okay. Council, any questions for Mr. Packett or his engineer? Discussion?
Let's have a comment. I think the best point made of all the public hearing came from Ms. Reynolds. I'd like to have real numbers, not just what somebody's estimating from this, that, and the other. I think an impact study is necessary. And I don't know if I can make a decision until I know exactly what it's gonna cost us, and it's better to do it now before too much money's been invested in it.
Any other discussion, Council? All right.
Yeah, I mean, I came in late with some questions, and I feel like they were addressed. Density, check the box. I knew we were worried about school system, law enforcement, traffic. You heard from the county administrator. I talked to her predecessor, the former county administrator, before we were talking about the subdivision coming across Hamilton. I talked to the EMS then, I talked to law enforcement then. It was echoed tonight that that's not gonna be a problem. The only problem I do still see, and I do agree, is traffic. I feel like I heard 4 yays tonight, maybe 3 nays. And the traffic is the problem, but like Mr. Stone said, we need employees. I have employees that need housing, that are traveling from a long ways away. Some of the concerns brought up were adding traffic and such, but he can do that anyway. I mean, he owns the land, it's R12 and R1. Another thought I had was, there's people always chirping on Facebook that want more business here, but we can't do that without traffic and houses. So it's like, which one do we want? For me, the boxes were checked tonight, and I'd like to make a motion to move forward. Now, Mr. Ogle said that members aren't here, but Ms. Palmore is here. So there would only be one member that's not here tonight. So with that, I would put a motion on the table to approve phase 1.
We'll come out of the public hearing, and then we can take that up then. Okay? Any other comments? Okay. Let's come out of public hearing. Planning Commission, is there any action you want to take tonight?
Mr. Mayor, I think we would like to have further discussion at our next meeting in January, if you guys are able to table it for this evening for the vote. And we can report back to you by the next meeting.
All right. So let the record show the Planning Commission would like to take this up on in their January meeting. Okay. What I would say is, I'm probably right there with Jonathan. You can't grow without growing pains. That's just true. And we have worked very hard this past 5, 6, 7 years to build up infrastructure, build up businesses, bring businesses here. And there is a need for new customers. There is a need for employees. There's quite often at the bank, we see folks coming in and wanting to look for a place to live, and there's just nothing in Richmond County or Warsaw that's modern and available. So I think the market demand is there. And I think the capacity issues have been talked about a lot. We talked about this a lot 2 years ago. We talked about this a lot 4 years ago when Stylecraft was here. Nothing's changed, except it's not COVID any longer. So council, well, I'll put this thing to you. There's 2 topics in front of us that we have to decide on. One, do we make a motion to vote tonight, or do we kick it back to another time in January? And 2, Mr. Packett did not bring it up, but there is the topic of incentives. There is a water and sewer hookup incentive that expires on December 31st of this year. We put this in place going way back to the notes. September 9th, 2021, we put a incentive on the board for any developments or individuals that were to build in the town of Warsaw, that there would be a 50% waiver on water and sewer hookup fees. That expires, that sunsets December 31st in 2 or 3 weeks. To give you an idea what that means to Mr. Packett's property development plan, round numbers, these are close, they're not exact. Full water and sewer hookup fees is about $1.8 million as we look at what we see today. 50% waiver is about $880,000 that would go towards incentive to the builder to do as the builder sees fit to market the property or make the property more viable. It's a significant incentive. On June 9th, 2022, coming out of COVID, we had Stylecraft in here, and we met with them, and we did a special incentive for them only. And we said that for that project over in Hamilton, that we would waive 100% of water and sewer hookup fees for that project only. They didn't take us up on it, and they disappeared. So there's that. So in your decision making and your thought processes, I'm sure Mr. Packett is very interested. We need to figure out what we're going to do about that incentive. Do we say no incentives? It is what it is. Do we say for Mr. Packett, we're going to do a 50% grandfather waiver and carry that over for his project? Do we put a time limit on it? Significant money, and I would think Mr. Packett would agree it would be very good to know. So that's another topic that we need to figure out, if not tonight, very, very soon. On any of those things.
I agree, because that could kill a project. I mean, you said 12/31 timeline. The planning commission suggested to move table.
I'm sorry?
Something that big would kill a project. There would be no growth here in Warsaw, is what I'm saying, if we don't make a motion tonight.
Well, now, in saying that, the council can, in January or February or March or any given time, come back and make those incentives again.
And is Mr. Packett just supposed to trust that?
Are we supposed to trust Mr. Packett? Yes, so he ought to have trust in us.
That would be a new council, though, is what I'm saying. I'm inferring to, yeah. That'd be a new council.
Well, that's one reason why I said the new council needs to have all the information in front of them before us sit here and make a decision, and then they have to deal with what we've said.
Mr. Mayor, if I may just interject very briefly, from the management perspective, I know that we had some discussion earlier, but I would recommend from my perspective and as town manager to defer this to next month's meeting, because I think we have two very large items outstanding, and I would like for us to do due diligence. I have a report we're working on that I would like to give at the next month's meeting and to discuss both of these items.
All right, so we have the recommendation from our town manager. But I would like to bring up the topic of incentives again. We have brought Warsaw to where it is today by leveraging our incentives in a way that I have not seen any other locality, big or small, do. We thought it was a good idea in 2021. We thought it was a good idea for 2022. COVID is not COVID anymore. We've moved on. This is a new time. And we have got at least 4 developers that want to come in and build some size of projects in the town. Nothing at all compared to what Mr. Packett's talking about. He's unique in that piece. So, you know, there's several options. Again, we could bring this development in and grandfather to his development only. We could make an incentive specifically for his development only and take other developments as they are, right, as they come up and show their merit, their risk, their scope. But I think it's probably something we need to figure out. So, what's your thoughts on the incentive?
I'm not prepared to decide that tonight.
Okay, we have one, says table. Paul?
For the incentive, for the 50%, I have no problem with extending it to him only for, we say 6 months because we can always change it, you know, again, but that would get us to next year. But I don't want to make a decision on part 1 until next meeting.
Oh?
Well, in the past, we've done a lot of development, worked with developers, let me say that, and we have given incentives. And it has proven to help. I kind of agree with Paul. In the past, we have said 50%. I would not be in favor of anything more. But it seems to have worked in the past, 50%. And I hope the developer will maybe at sometime during their projects might kick a little extra in, knowing what the town is going through with development and cost. You know, I mentioned something about a well. It's not our choosing, it was DEQ's. We had no control. You talk about our roads, they belong to VDOT. We have no control. As you know, we tried, didn't go anywhere. So at this point, I don't want to see this project dropped by any means whatsoever. People need homes, good, safe communities. And I agree with Councilman Yeagle that 50% would be a doable figure.
I mean, he brought this to us before the deadline.
Yeah.
We're the ones
Yes.
that's putting it off. So
Yes.
he shouldn't be penalized for that.
Jonathan?
I want to thank Paul for being the middleman there between me and, because now I get, I see what you're saying now. That's the answer, is the grandfather, that if we do want to table it, that Mr. Packett still be allowed incentives. I think he should be allowed no less than 50%. I think earlier, Mayor, you said that Stylecraft years ago, and only them were offered 0%, correct?
Right.
I'm one of 8, but I would flirt with the idea of offering 75% to make it 25. But I'm one of 8, so that's where I stand, and that's where I'm at. I would offer up to 75% for the incentive, because I would like to see the numbers on that, because I could see as a developer, I can or can't do this size pool or gym or whatever it's going to be. actually, I think whoever builds a house there is gonna benefit from that money, not necessarily the developer. So that's the only way reason I say that, 75%.
Mary Beth?
I'm gonna follow Paul
And that is?
to 50.
Ralph, what do you think?
I'm totally in agreement. I respect our planning commission, and they're saying they need to discuss this a little further, and I think we ought to give them that opportunity. I don't like making decisions without their recommendation, and I know they will make good recommendations, but I definitely think they need to talk this over a little bit more and come back to us on that. And another month or two, I don't think it's going to make or break this entire project. I think it's a great project. I just think we need to really put our heads together and think about where we're going to go forward and how we're going to go forward with this. So I think with the discussion we're having and what we've had tonight, another month is not going to make a difference.
So that's on the development approval phase one. What's your mind on the incentive?
Oh, on the incentive, I would agree. I would say that we would extend that since we're tabling this vote tonight. I would certainly extend that a few more months. I don't know if we want to extend it for 4 or 5 years like we've done in the past, but certainly enough to see where he's going to go with this.
All right, so what I'm hearing is the majority council at least feels that they would like to move forward with the 50% incentive. I'm going to be a fly in the ointment, though, and ask for some details. Are we saying this is going to be, if the development is approved as is, that it's going to be in effect, takes him 5 or 6 years to build out? Or are we going to say this is going to be in effect for Mr. Packett another 3 years, and it's effect for any unit that taps into the water system? What's your thoughts?
I think that's the best motion. I would say it's in effect for any unit that taps into the system. I think that's.
Or what time?
Or specifically, I would just say carte blanche, just that statement alone,
Any
just
time
specific to this
period is what
development.
Joe's saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so the motion that we're probably looking for is to extend the 50% incentive for the Packett development only for the, you think I would know the name, I'm sorry, my apologies, the Rhodes Creek development, that is for that project only, then it is waived at the time that each unit taps into the water.
So 50%.
50%. Is that fair? Would anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion that we do this as we spoke.
I second it.
All right, we got a motion and a second.
I have one question about it. Let's say Mr. Packett builds for a year, then sells out the whole thing to somebody else. Does it carry over with it, or is it just to him?
I would say it would just to be to Mr. Packett. He is the one we're giving it to.
I mean, we may be doing it to the developer.
The way the motion's on the table, it's for the development, not to the developer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if that's the will of council, that's how it would be defined.
Okay.
All right, so this buys us time for Mr. Packett for us to talk about it another month without penalizing him on the incentive sunsetting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right. Mr. Packett, the Planning Commission will be taking this up next month. The Town Council will take it up as well. I would imagine we might have some questions to float back your way. All right. Okay, let's move on. It's been a fun meeting so far, right? Who planned all this work during Christmas?
I'm not sure.
All right, we are in the official area of the public comment section for the regular meeting. Is there anyone in the hall that would like to speak on any topic at all? I'm going to take that as a no. Okay, public comment is closed. All right, so we have some fun stuff to do.
Planning Commission can leave if they would like to.
Yes, I'm sorry. If the Planning Commission would like to,
Thank you all.
to exit, you may.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
certainly can stay. It just gets funner from here out.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you all for coming.
See you.
Julie, we still on camera? Okay.
For an hour and 24 minutes we've been on.
That's all right.
All right, so we're going to move along, and this is kind of a section where it's bittersweet. As we talked about before, election makes changes, right? And as we welcome Daphne aboard and Bobby, we're saying see you soon, right? To Farron and Mr. Hamlin and Mr. Forrest here beside me. And Farron has decided not to run for re-election. He is pursuing his busy family life and career, and he's opening for Pam Tillis coming up. So he's starting to get some pretty nice exposure. So council, I would like to read this resolution for Farron. And when I'm done, I would love for someone to put it in motion so we can vote on it. Farron's not here tonight, but we're still going to talk about it, right?
We talk about him if you want to.
Resolution honoring Councilmember Farron H. Hamlin for distinguished service and outstanding dedication to the town of Warsaw. Whereas Mr. Hamlin has served the Warsaw Town Council for nearly a decade, providing a voice for many residents across our community, and whereas Mr. Hamlin's vibrant spirit, tenacity always lifted the spirits of his fellow council members, providing momentum for many projects and initiatives, including the award-winning downtown revitalization project and economic development endeavors. And whereas the community is proud of his ever-improving music career, and the council acknowledges that his attention must now focus on those activities. Whereas Mr. Hamlin served his position faithfully and with honor, integrity, and great distinction, now therefore it be resolved that by official order of the Warsaw Town Council, the body individually and collectively commends Farron H. Hamlin for his service to the town of Warsaw, passed and adopted on this day, the 12th day of December, 2024. Council, I would love to have a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion to approve.
I will second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Farron got us in a little trouble every now and then. I'm going to really miss him. All right. So, I'll stand up for this one.
Yeah.
Resolution honoring Councilmember Ogle E. Forrest, Sr. for distinguished service and outstanding dedication to the town of Warsaw. Whereas Mr. Forrest has served for many years on the Warsaw Town Council and Warsaw Planning Commission, volunteering an innumerable number of hours of his time in helping to guide the future of the town. And whereas during Mr. Forrest's tenure, the town has grown and flourished, winning many awards and accolades, providing the citizens with a renewed sense of pride in their community. And whereas Mr. Forrest is considered as one of the pillars of the town council, always listening to the thoughts and opinions of his colleagues, providing insight from his many years of knowledge and experience, and perennially having the best interest of the town and the town staff and his fellow colleagues at heart. And whereas Mr. Forrest served each of his various elected and appointed positions faithfully, with honor, integrity, and great distinction for many years. Now therefore it be resolved that by official order of the Warsaw Town Council, the body individually collectively commends Ogle E. Forrest Sr. for service to the town of Warsaw and its residents, passed and adopted this 12th day of December, 2024. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
All those in favor, aye. Aye. Those opposed? Stand up.
Thank you. No speech?
Line 12.
I thought we were going to break out the champagne and scotch.
Do you want me to take that from Randy?
Now I'll break that if I keep
Pretty,
it.
man. Nice.
Okay, moving right along. Going to reports. The mayor's report, let's just skip that and go to town manager's report. Joseph, what's up?
All right. Thank you for that introduction. A very brief report. With Christmas Town in the works and everything else, we were trying to sort of have a nice little succinct report section here. Item number 1, Christmastown. It's almost that time. Christmastown is right around the corner, and we're well underway with preparations for another great event. Tomorrow night features a concert at Oyster Shoals Music Hall with the Dries from NBC's The Voice, starting at 7 p.m. It's free to the public, so make sure to get there early before they reach capacity. On Saturday, Christmastown starts at 1 p.m. and runs until 9 p.m., featuring an assortment of rides, vendors, activities, and much more. The first ever night parade kicks off promptly at 6 p.m. You won't want to miss it, so please make sure to bring your friends and family. Item number 2, Domino's update. We are pleased to announce that Domino's is now open. Ms. Palmery and her team have been great to work with, and they're still finishing last-minute touches, but we're so happy to welcome them to town. We will work with them to schedule a ribbon cutting as soon as they are ready. Item number 3, council dinner. The town staff and I wish to express our sincere gratitude for the Christmas dinner that was hosted by the town council at Old Rappahannock Brewing Company. The space was beautiful, the food was delicious, and we appreciate Kay, Andy, and their staff for doing a wonderful job. The brewery will be open in the public this Saturday, so make sure to stop in and support Warsaw's first brewery. And item number 4, economic development update. We find ourselves in a busy time of year for all sorts of things, with one of those being economic development. We're actively working with numerous parties and organizations as they consider Warsaw, with both the parcels across from Food Lion and the parcel beside McDonald's having interest. We're also working with the local business as they purchase property and expand their operations. As things progress, we will work with you throughout the process. That is my report for this month, and thank you all for everything that you do.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Questenberry? Everyone enjoyed the dinner?
Very much so. Thank you all.
Yep.
Thank you all.
You know, the time of year that is, the work that the town staff has to do on a day-in and day basis, Christmastown is just a monumental amount of work added that they have to do to make this happen. And just to see them all at the dinner, it was a special time, I think. And I just hope the town staff and everyone from Joseph, you to Public Works to officers to just everyone just understands that. We appreciate you all very much. It's a hard job. It really is, and we know it.
Thank you.
All right, Chief, you're on deck.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, Town Council. Real quick, our activity report from November is in your packet. If you have any questions, I'm more happy to answer them. Just had a few highlights. Proud to announce that we joined forces with local law enforcement partners last night in Tappahannock at the Walmart to have a shop with a cop. A huge success. We enjoyed doing that. We are, as a police department, we're fully prepared for Christmastown on Saturday, so we're definitely looking forward to that. It'll be my first major event with the town. And a little side note, or a good note, the town police is fully staffed at this time with some good talent. And looking forward to 2025, do some great things there. And then finally, on behalf of the police department, I'd just like to thank Mr. Force for your support of the police department.
You're more than welcome.
Since I've been on board the last 9 months, and it's been appreciated. Pending your questions, that is the end of my report.
A violation of dog on leash requirement, what in the world did the poor dog do?
Well, let's see what happened was.
I mean, I see dogs walking around all the time.
I can't, it'd just be a violation of the leash law that they have, I guess. I don't know the code right off the top of my head on that one.
Okay, because I see dogs walking around all the time that.
Usually on a leash with somebody attached to them or just running around?
No. Our front yard is like a bathroom place for all the dogs in the neighborhood.
Well, sounds like if you call our chief, they'll take care of it.
That's right, they'll definitely take care of it. We got some hard chargers on staff. Good balance, I guess. Hard chargers versus.
Any other questions for the chief?
Well, yeah, don't give me a ticket on 246 Harris Avenue. My dog's running around, 'cause it's gonna happen.
Chief, one question about the Christmastown event. Are you and your team ready to handle all the folks from the Santa Claus crawl?
Yes.
Very good.
We have a lot of local law enforcement support. Richmond County Sheriff's Office, New Kent Sheriff's Office, Tappahannock Police, Colonial Beach Police, State, and some friends from the FBI will be here to assist us.
Outstanding. All right.
Well, Chief, for the last time from me,
Do you need anything?
Yes.
All right, let's hear it.
Now's the time to ask, right?
Yes.
As usual, we are good, and I appreciate your support, sir. Hey, town manager, can you put like I don't know how the work orders go here, but they got a little piece of flashing or something off your PD. I don't know, siding, I guess. Can we just get a piece and replace it?
Sure.
See, I'm looking out for.
Yes, you are.
I seen it.
Facade.
I have not side. You got bigger problems to worry about. I'm just cruising down Main Street, going 20 miles an hour. I can see that.
We're going to move on. All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
The Public Works report is in your folder.
Yeah.
Any questions on that?
No,
All right.
we got the best crew out there.
Indeed we do. Council committee reports, I don't believe, the Economic Development
We
Committee
do,
did
we
meet.
do. We did meet prior to this meeting.
Jonathan, what's the update there?
We had on a table an economic incentive grant application by Ms. Tamika Croxton for Hummingbird Learning Center LLC. The Economic Development unanimously voted to offer half of the grant, which would be $3,600 out of $7,200. So that is their recommendation to council, to offer them half.
Council, that's down under new business 11A, but let's go ahead and take action on that. So the recommendation is a unanimous vote from the Economic Development Committee to approve $3,600 for rent relief. Is that the program?
Let me edit that motion. $3,600 with the stipulation, all necessary licenses to, make them operational prior to us giving them the reimbursement.
Okay.
They have to have all their licenses.
All right. Any discussion, council? And is there a motion to approve that grant?
I'll make that motion that we approve the grant.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Planning Commission report, Mary Beth, I think we just witnessed that.
Yes.
Okay. Northern Neck Regional Jail report, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, you got the breakdown of the housing code. I see it's in our packet there. At the meeting, it was a little bit longer meeting this time. We introduced to the new Commonwealth's attorney and
County administrator.
Westmoreland County.
County administrator.
County administrator, I'm sorry. In Westmoreland County, so he's new on board there. We had a couple of presentations. One was by the superintendent, Michelle Lewis, on understanding corrections, specifically a jail's role in the system. And she told us about how they evaluate people coming into the jail, how they section them off, how they take care of them, try to get them back up, out again, and how they deal with drugs. And I'm really condensing it, but those are the topics that she discussed. And then we had a nice presentation by our very own Jonathan English on the U.S. Marshal Service. They had the annual inspection, and as I've mentioned many times, we depend on them a lot to keep the counties from having to pay. They're a big contributor to the clientele in the jail there. And Jonathan told us all the things that they look for and do. And according to Jonathan, that last month we exceeded expectations and got a letter to that note. So still doing a great job down there.
All right.
Congrats.
Any questions for our Vice Mayor? All right. American Rescue Plan Act, there's still a couple of bucks in that thing.
Yep. Out of a total dispersed of $1,541,750, we have remaining $56,467.94, which we are earmarking for the community market.
Okay. Any questions, council, on that? Old business, the update on 74 Main.
Yes, I spoke with Mr. Casone today. We've gotten in half of the HVAC equipment, so he's working on that. Within the next couple of weeks, we should see a little more movement. There'll be saw cutting for the plumbing inside and working on the dividing wall. So I think after the holidays, you'll see some noticeable progress there.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'll just continue on. Okay, well replacement. We're still working with the Sidner Group. They are recommending a design build for the well replacement. And once we have that, we can put out an RFP. So that's where we're at with that. Still working, still have plenty of time to get that done. And the DHCD housing project, as you can see, the sign has been installed. We put it where the majority of the homes will be worked on, so it's right here out at the corner of the office. And the TN Construction Group, they're still working on analyzing each property and working up the bid packages. So hopefully the first of the year, those will be out, and we'll see some movement on those as well.
All right. Any questions on those three topics for Ms. Coates? All right. That takes us down to appointments. And Joseph, where is that current list?
It's sort of in between the two EIP applications.
Between the applications?
Yep.
No, I got it.
Yep, page 5, under new
All right.
business.
So we have 3 vacancies on the Planning Commission, and we have 1 vacancy on the Board of Zoning Appeals. We have a new name for the Planning Commission. Mr. Ogle Forrest has expressed wishes to be appointed to the Planning Commission. You served how many years on that?
10 years.
10 years.
5 years as chairman.
So we have a little bit of a conundrum. We do have 4 names for 3 slots. We have Berkeley Cash, Belinda Reynolds, which Mr. Reynolds is here with us tonight, Chris Evans, and then Ogle Forrest. It's really not a problem we have. I can't remember how many times we've had more names than we've had openings. So, Joseph, you want to give us the rundown a little bit on each of these folks and their desires?
Sure.
What can you tell us?
Yep. So I know that Mr. Cash did previously work for the town at the treatment plant for quite some time, and I think he left probably 2 or 3 years in my career to do other things. Miss Belinda Reynolds, I was talking with her and approached her because I always try to consider folks that are engaged in the community, that care enough and have passion for their community. Whether sometimes we get along or don't get along, that's okay. We always talk about town stuff. Chris Evans, I think, do you mind wanting y'all to a little bit more on Mr. Evans? I don't.
Evans served on their Board of Zoning Appeals until recently, and the only reason he said he backed away from that was because they just didn't meet regularly, and he wanted to be more of a presence in the community.
I spoke to Mr. Evans via online about the opportunity, and he seems genuinely interested in being involved.
I know he's involved in Little League, right? I mean, I don't think he's on the board or anything, but he helps out, coaches. Does he coach sports as a teacher or something like that? Or he used to. I think he coached when I was over there in
IT
Westmoreland.
for Westmoreland County
Yeah.
schools.
Well, he did coach when I was over there.
Well, council, we could do this by block, or we could do it one at a time. I'll start. I like the idea of Chris Evans. I had a good conversation with him. He seemed to be engaged and wanting to do more. I support Belinda Reynolds being on there. I know that she probably doesn't agree with me more than 80% of the times, but she's here and she comes and she cares. So that counts for something. And I would be supportive of Ogle. I think his voice has been his voice is one I would not want to lose as a town advocate. And I'm just saying that.
I'll second that threesome.
I agree with that group.
I kind of like Mr. Cash being a former employee and knowing something about wastewater. And some youth. Nothing against wisdom, because I would vote for Ogle too, but some youth. So I kind of like, anyway.
I was looking at the people that I see here, and Belinda and Ogle. Of course, Ogle's had to be here, but they've shown the interest in the town and all that. And between the other two, and from what you know, I knew Berkeley when he worked here. I didn't know Chris, but from what the descriptions, you know, both of them normally would be great candidates, but I agree with the mayor. I think Chris Evans is probably deliver more to us than that, because I mean, Berkeley's a really good guy, but I mean, I haven't seen him or heard from him since he left here, so.
All right, so what I'm hearing is, except for one, that we might have a consensus with Belinda, Chris, and Ogle.
Yes.
Would someone like to put that in as a motion?
I'll do that.
So we have a motion to appoint Belinda Reynolds, Chris Evans, and Ogle Forrest to the Planning Commission. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those
I
opposed?
abstained from that vote.
Congratulations.
We have one abstention.
I'm not voting for myself.
All right.
But I am looking forward to go back on the planning commission and work with these members. We got a lot of things coming up.
I'm not sure what other things we could enlist Berkeley cash for, but we need to keep that stoked.
Planning Commission always seems to
There's
have
quite a
an
bit of turnover
opening.
there,
Yeah,
so I think, yeah.
All right, the next spot is we have Board of Zoning Appeals. Tiffany Hackett is up for reappointment.
She still wants to do it, right?
She still wants to do it.
Yeah.
Then we sent her name, that's one about the judge.
The judge,
Sent
yeah.
her name to the judge to be approved as a
Yeah.
member of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
We have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, okay. All right, economic development meeting to be scheduled for EIP application for Beauty Bungalow.
We usually like to do those if the chair of the committee before the council meeting. We'll do it whenever.
No, same as tonight. Let's do 5:30 before the next council meeting.
Sounds good.
I think if you're on the committee, I think it was sent out. I read over it already. It looks like a great idea. So we'll talk about that then.
Any new business from the council? Anything he wants to bring up? January is that every other year piece, right? That we establish our new government, so to speak. We have to reappoint or not reappoint our town manager, so you can put him on probation if you like.
You were already reappointed in July.
Our treasurer, Julia.
Oh, it's July.
Those
It's
are July.
Oh, you guys are July?
Yeah, this is just mayor, vice mayor.
We're still on the
Yeah.
old
You just
system
got-
that
you
y'all
just
used
did
to
it
be
months
on.
ago.
I cannot keep that straight.
We did just do it.
Stuck with this, but.
Yeah, it was the
It's
chief.
you, Randy.
It was
Oh,
y'all.
oh,
y'all
yeah,
three in July,
it's the
yeah.
mayor.
That took an unexpected turn that wasn't nice. I was really gonna dog him a little bit. So next January, one of the first things we'll do is I will chair to get through the agenda. Then we'll turn it up for nominations for mayor and vice mayor. And then we'll see where that goes. I would very much like to be mayor and serve with you again, but if there's other wills, some other will out there, that will be left to be seen. I hope Paul feels the same. I think we're a good team. That said, after the new government is established, we'll move on with the January agenda. That's not all right?
Yeah.
All right. All right, so Daphne,
Yes, sir.
how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. So have you been sworn in yet?
No.
No, okay. So you need to get sworn in before the next meeting. And then you'll be official and you can talk and vote and do all kinds of crazy things. We like to end our meetings with a round of commentary. I usually recognize one person at a time and they just, whatever's on their mind. So as your pre-initiation, I'm going to let you kick us off on closing comments.
Thanks. Yeah, good to see people show up and speak out, and it's good to have more people on the planning commission coming in.
All right. Ralph?
I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, which is right around the corner. Christmas Town coming up. I look forward to seeing what we have going on here. I probably won't be there all day, but I plan to be there right much of it, just to be a part of it and to show support for this town and our staff and for the folks that are taking care of this and running this. And I just think it's going to be a great day and look forward to it and look forward to working with Daphne and our other councilman. I got to get to know him better, but just appreciate everything that everybody's done this past year. And we look forward, and I look forward to working with everyone this coming year and the years ahead to keep growing this town and having good things to happen.
Rebecca?
Oh, what a end of the year meeting we had, right? But anyway, it was good, well worthwhile. Ogle, I'm sure gonna miss you, but not for long, right?
Y'all can't get rid of me.
No. I'm so proud about what's gonna happen on Saturday. I've got lots of relatives, I think, coming to see the new Old Warsaw. So very proud of the way it looks. Thank you guys for everything. And I'll end it with Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.
Mary Beth?
Rebecca, I'm going to miss Turner very much.
Thank you.
I wish he was here. The good meeting. I wish everybody happy New Year and a Merry Christmas. Very good meeting. Got a lot out of it.
Jonathan?
I'd like to welcome Daphne to our team and thankful for her. Welcome to new planning commission members. Thank you for wanting to serve. Town staff, thank y'all. Everything's beautiful. The town's safe. The town's beautiful. Looking forward to this weekend. Seriously. Thank y'all. It's beautiful. It's safe. It's well run. And lastly, thank you, Ogle, for your years of service. And I do hope to see you sitting by me again in a few years. But I am very happy that you're going to be on the planning commission. And thank you for your wisdom.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
First of all, I'm going back to, I know we spent all that time, but I'm not, when I said something about feasibility study and stuff, I mean, I'm not against any growth or anything like that, but we need people who do not have a stake in the thing for us to have real numbers and real outcomes, impact study on it. So I really stress that we need, Belinda was right, we need to have it, that type of thing. I welcome Daphne too. I look forward to working with you. I think you'll be a good addition to the town council here. The parade, you didn't give us any information on that. We're not riding in it this time.
So I was going to wait till adjourners come up individually. We don't have a float, but we do have spaces to ride in vehicles if anybody wants to. We have a couple council members that want to, so whenever y'all leave, just tell me, and we have space for y'all. We have the trash truck. It's going to look really great, and we have our police vehicles.
Jump on the back.
You can. Yeah.
Trash bags of
Sounds
candy.
good to me. It's like a safety hazard.
All right.
Well, to start off with,
Yeah, this is not gonna take 15 minutes.
no.
I
I'd like to welcome all the new members to council and on the planning commission. Y'all are just not joining a council. It's a family. I'd like to thank the citizens that have given me the honor to be here. It has been a great journey, but like all journeys, they come to an end. But one good news that has happened. When one door closes, another door opens. And I'll still be with you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you.
It's okay, Uncle.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. Very Merry Christmas with your families, your loved ones, and yes, and a Happy New Year. And